Are you a real estate investor in the California market? And are you wondering, with all this uncertainty going on, what is going to happen in the next 6 months? Well, my name is Ruben Austria. I'm the founder of LEARNin Local Live. I'm also an account executive at Revolution Realty Capital.
I'm Ellen Rodriguez Wing. I'm an accountant and founder of Framework Accounting. Stay tuned. We got great conversations coming up.
Yeah, welcome to LEARNin Local Live.
Currently,
We're relying on work. Ellen, thank you so much for joining me today on today's show on LEARNin Local Live California. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me here on the show. Maiden show, right?
Of course. This is our first show. This is our maiden voyage into the journey of working to represent ourselves in a different way. I think times have changed, and I believe that the traditional social media. This is just a prediction. I believe traditional social media is going to go by the wayside, and everyone is going to want to, really talk to real people in real time about relevant things happening in the industry, and specifically in California real estate. What do you think?
Yeah. And you know what makes this show relevant in social media times is you can tune in wherever you are and still receive valuable information about your investments and your interests.
100%. 100%. So if you're wondering more about why we're here, LEARNin Local Live is a platform that I created for real estate professionals who are working and operating and marketing and promoting themselves in modern ways, and AKA we're all looking to become influencers. So the point of this platform is to help connect, collaborate, and create opportunities amongst real estate professionals who want to just raise their hand and show up and say, hey, yes, I can help, and I'm a real person. I'm not a deep fake. I'm not AI, and I have a personality, and I have feelings, so don't hurt them. So comment if you have any questions, but be kind, right, Ellen?
Yeah. You know what makes LEARNin Local California so valuable is we bring not just influencers but real experts from seasoned investors, real estate attorneys, tax professionals, and even the market analysts. And so we're able to use this platform to give insights to that you won't actually find in generic headlines.
100%, 100%. And we're doing it in a way, in a context, and it's super important to educate, empower, and inspire. I mean, there are many other reasons why everyone would show up to a live podcast, but really these are our main intentions: are educate, empower, inspire. It's hard enough to do business and do good business when when the folks that you're working with maybe aren't on the same on the same mindset or the same path. Do you ever find that difficult, Ellen, in terms of like the real estate business?
Yeah, real estate business. Well, first of all, you need a network. So this platform, this show is actually what we're offering our audience because now you have these real experts to help you navigate the real estate market. So don't be afraid. You just have to have a network and know and tap into that network. Know what you have available for you so you can really understand. You're informed about any decision making that you'll be able to take.
100%, 100%. And more about those subject matter experts. We scour the earth, and in this case, California. We scour the earth for subject matter professionals who not only have the information, education, and knowledge to share, but also not afraid to show up on camera, make mistakes. So please don't count all the ums and ahs that we're all work in progress. So yeah, this again, Ellen, reason why I think everyone needs a bookkeeper or needs accounting firm to work with is I've encountered and worked with so many investors since I've been in the business in 2005. Most of them don't have any sense of organizing paperwork. It only makes it harder for everyone else, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
for us to
It
get them
is true.
loans, to get them insurance, A little bit of planning goes a long way. So.
Mhm. A little bit of planning, and also, financial perspective. So you make you're able to organize, and then you're able to really understand the financial impact of any investment that you have. So you do need a bookkeeper when you're trying to bookkeeper or an accountant when you're thinking about investments. You
100%.
won't get lost in the numbers.
100%. So let's do this. We're going to quickly get a chance to introduce ourselves fully. I'm going to start. So, are you an investor and you just flipped the property and now you can't sell it? Well, I have a loan for you. I have a lot of investors really who had an exit strategy of flipping a home and selling it. Now they have to, rechart their course, and have to potentially, or really, if they can, refinance into a DSCR loan, debt service coverage ratio loan. If you don't know what that is, or would like some help getting out of a rut, because believe me, I've been there. I've been there with quote unquote my pants down, fixing and flipping properties, and this market shifts, and all of a sudden you can't sell it, so you got to do something. Again, my name is Ruben at Revolution Realty Capital. We'll put our information into the live comments so that you can reach out. Would love to help you out. Ellen,
Yeah.
give you the opportunity to do the same. Please,
Uh-huh.
please come in, introduce yourself, and what you're up to.
Yes, LEARNin Local Live, California. We bring real experts. We bring real experts on this platform. I'm a seasoned accountant, and I am a founder of my own company, Framework Accounting, and I'm helping individuals, families, and business owners make smart financial decisions, and especially when it comes to real estate. So here on this show, I bring numbers-driven perspective in the conversation, and I hope that I can help you guys break down affordability, tax implications, and anything about market that's financial related.
All right. Perfect. So we can't do this alone. We're just hosting the shows. We're going to bring on our panel of subject matter experts that's going to help us with today's conversation. So Patrick, please share who you are and the problems that you solve, the value that you add, and let's make it happen.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me today, Ruben. Really appreciate it. My name is Patrick Ono. I'm a farmers insurance agent. I've got many years of insurance and financial services background. And what I can bring to the table is knowledge. If you think the real estate market has been up and down and kind of topsy-turvy lately, the insurance industry has been just as volatile. Things that you thought were normal just a few years ago are no longer normal. Having someone that's on your side with the knowledge and background, and able to help, that's what I'm here for. As Ruben has always said, we're here to educate and empower. Hopefully I can bring some of that to you and some of that to the group. And again, thank you for having me today.
Of course, we wouldn't be able to close any loans without Patrick. So Patrick, thank you for being here. And we're going to round off our panel with our wholesaler in the group. Martin, please introduce yourself to the live.
Hey guys, I'm Martin Magana. I'm a local wholesaler out here in San Diego. My mission in this market is to kind of revolutionize how wholesaling is viewed in real estate. My goal here is to bring value to both agents and end buyers by bringing them off-market and sometimes on-market deals that have been leaned out to make our prices competitive and make sure that everybody wins. Our main model for our business to make sure that both the agents, the end buyers, everyone's taken care of, either through referral fees or just plugging in any agents or any investors who might be interested in any of our properties and making sure that everybody walks away with a win.
Awesome. Well, cool. I really appreciate all of you for being here on today's show, our inaugural show. So without further ado, we got a lot to talk about. I want to transition into our featured guest of the week. Okay, so for today's show, I know that we are all talking about predictions of what's going to happen for the remainder of 2025. For today, we actually have a heavy hitter in California joining us by the name of David Zabarte. David, thank you so much for being here. I want to give you the opportunity to quickly introduce yourself before we get into the discussion.
Great. Thanks, Ruben, for having me on. If anybody is dealing with residential real estate, you got a home to sell, you're looking to maybe make a purchase, possibly first time. I've been selling residential real estate here in the San Francisco Bay Area since 2005. My office is out of the Walnut Creek area, so I'm right at kind of the base of Mount Diablo, and I service pretty much about an hour radius outside of my hub. And I deal with all different situations, primarily sticking with residential, but that includes probate situations, trust situations, situations where there's been squatters in homes, and law enforcement, you name it. I've probably dealt with it. Distressed market in the past during the great financial collapse. I've seen quite a lot of different situations when it comes to the residential real estate market. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Well, Dave, you're the man of the half hour. The way we're going to pose this discussion about the future of what's going to happen this for the remainder of 2025 is by posing situations that we've gotten from viewers on or members of our Facebook page who follow our Facebook page, and they're just posing their situations so that you can answer them in the context of a prediction or how you might be able to help that person. So we'll start off by just posting the first available comment that we have. So is the real estate market going to get better for buyers? I think it can't get any more. It cannot get any more straight up than that.
This is a question that I get so much, and pretty much anywhere where I go and somebody finds out I sell real estate, I'm dealing with this question. It's been so difficult for the buying pool out there over the past number of years. We were used to record low interest rates, under 3%. And then all of a sudden, when the market changed and interest rates doubled, that basically chopped the legs out of, so many people who were in the buying market, and it hasn't really gotten any easier. We're looking at, things where, back maybe, 20 years ago when interest rates were 6%, it was achievable. But at that point, the amount of money that it took to get into the real estate market, was much different. It could have been, maybe 3 times earnings, but now it's taking, some buyers even like 10 times earnings just to even save enough to qualify for a loan, let alone, kind of figure out whether or not they're going to be able to afford insurance and, all the other associated costs with, that purchase. So I think the hope is that interest rates are going to, come back down, but there's no guarantee. None of us have a crystal ball. I can just say that, I think that the greater macroeconomic forces that are out there pretty much dictate that we have to expect that at some point interest rates are going to come back down, because it's not sustainable to have interest rates up at this, at this point, especially when you look at like where I sell in the San Francisco Bay Area. The median prices in, most of the areas are, above 700,000, 800,000. So, at 6% even, which is a good rate if you could get that now, that's very, very cost prohibitive. So I can certainly understand why buyers would be wanting to,
well, let's just make let me just follow that up. We have 2 questions that we still want to pose. How many times does the Fed lower the rates, and what do they lower it for the end of the year, David?
We've been expecting the Fed to lower by half base, 50% basis points, and they're between a rock and a hard place. And I think by the end of the year, maybe the optimistic viewpoint is that we might get, one or maybe possibly two, lowerings, but there's no guarantee there.
Got it. Okay.
But
Cool.
one of the things that is happening, I think, for buyers is that we're starting to see longer times for listings, before they go under contract.
Well, that's the second. That's good. That's good you say that, because it's transition to the second question.
Yeah.
Most here, based on what's going on with the U.S. economy, should I wait to try to sell now? Try to sell, wait to sell, or try to sell my home currently?
Because nobody has this crystal ball. I think that the idea that if you wait to sell, you're going to have less competition. Right now, that's not the case. I think we can see what the trend has been, and the trend for pretty much most areas in California with any kind of metropolitan, population is that listings are taking longer to sell. More listings are coming on, and so whenever you have more competitors, the chances are that buyers are going to be able to take more time to figure out what they can purchase, and then maybe have some negotiation room when it comes to the offers that they're making. And I think a lot of sellers are sitting in situations where, they put in a lot of improvements, and they might be looking at sunk cost that they're trying to recoup. And, depending on what the competition is, giving as far as, competitors, they might not be able to, recoup those costs, and it's costing them time on the market, which I'm seeing quite a lot.
100%. Ellen, Martin, or Patrick, anything you want to chime in about?
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Go ahead.
Ellen.
I'm sorry. I'll give it to you.
So going off of that, I think I do agree with that, where if you're going to be selling right now, you just need to go into it and be realistic, where with so much inventory sitting for so long, buyers are going to have more negotiating power. They're going to have more, like you said, time to be able to look to make sure these deals or traditional real estate works for them. So just go into it with a realistic mindset and make sure that you don't go in expecting the best rates, the best everything, especially with interest rates being where they are. So
Good point.
As mentioned, inventory is rising, prices are softening in some regions, and the sellers probably are becoming more flexible. The key is, I guess my question is, and if you agree with me, for buyers who are financially prepared, could this be a good window? Especially if your focus is on long-term value and not short-term timing.
Right. I think that's a key point, because real estate is a long-term hold situation under most circumstances. Anytime you look at short time frames when it comes to a highly illiquid asset like real estate, that goes more into the gambling realm than it does investment. But historically, we can see that real estate, it doesn't necessarily map exactly to protecting against inflation, but it's one of the few assets that will hold wealth, and that's that's one of the things that I think people get really fixated on, is the fact that real estate prices are too high, it's not worth it. That house in the 70s cost $70,000 and is now $700,000 to $1 million. But that just shows you the change that's happened to our fiat currency. The real estate hasn't changed at all. It holds its value. You could look at other hard assets like gold. Same thing with gold. It buys you the same amount of stuff. So I think when it comes to sellers trying to decide whether or not they should wait, I think you got to really think about what advantages do you gain by waiting? Because if you wait, there could be more competition, and if there's more competition, that puts the pressure a lot lower in the buyer's hands, and they can take their time, and then they can look and say, oh well, there's another one that I could buy for the similar amount that you're asking, and it's got more features, right? Because somebody gets, more motivated. They've been holding longer. They've got other decisions that they've got to make, and they'll be willing to take a little bit more of a haircut than you, right? So that's just the sales dynamic based on supply and demand.
100%. And I think we had a third question, but I think you might have already answered it. From someone who said he has.
Okay.
the market for several weeks and haven't gotten any offers.
I see this kind of question not only echoes sellers who are trying to sell their properties, but I see this in real estate forums across the country right now, where agents who haven't had maybe as long a time in the industry, they're used to having listings go on the market and then immediately go under contract. And a lot of these agents are seeing their listings sit there for several weeks, and they get really panicky because they're just not used to that. But this is just the dynamic of the supply and demand. If there's more listings that come on, you're going to have more options for the buyers that are in that price range. And so I think a lot of it comes down to what product are you offering for the price point that you're asking, and is it realistic based on the competition that's around you? In the end, it's like a beauty pageant, right? You got to make sure you're in the right contest, and you got to figure out who is the winner of the contest. And if you're not, where are you? Are you runner up? Or are you second place? What's it going to take? You got to wait for one of your competitors to sell before you're going to sell.
Yeah.
So this is sort of the fiddly bits of what goes into your marketing. And really you need an agent that can look at data, talk straight, and say, hey, look, I know you want to get X amount of money, but that's not realistic in this market. Here's what an appraiser is going to come in. If somebody has a loan, they have a third party that's going to look and say, look, all the other competitors put your value here. And if that doesn't align with where your list price is, you're not going to sell.
100%.
That's the mechanics of that.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate all the insights that you've provided, David. It's great. Certainly, we're going to post your information. So anyone who might be looking to go further into those discussions, we'll do so. But what I'd like to do right now is I want to transition into our next prime segment of Learn Local Live, which is Learn Local Opportunities. So we're going to do that now. Okay, so Learn Local Opportunities essentially are off-market real estate deals that we present to you in a live format, so that really makes it easier, and it makes it easier not only to take all that information in, have those discussions with people that are pertinent to the transaction that you might be getting yourself engaged into, but it's also a way for you to understand and know that you're getting this information from real people who are really in the business that can give you subject matter expertise. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to transition to Martin really quick. Again, he's with Aurumys Real Estate. They are a wholesale provider of real estate. Real estate provider of real estate in the San Diego area, and he's going to talk about a deal that is currently available in the Southern California Oceanside market. So if you could, Martin, please educate us about what you have available and what you're going to be sharing with us on Thursday at 8:00 a.m. PST.
Perfect. Thank you, Ruben. Yeah, so this is our off-market deal up in Oceanside. It's a little bit north of Vista in the North County area. This one's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage. It's sitting on a 2,500 square foot total with a 7,800 lot. This one has a huge storage loft right above the garage for additional space and just any amenities you want to add up there. All the key fixtures, such as the septic, the sewer, the electrical, the roof, all of it in great condition. The main aspect here is the great curb appeal. You don't really have to do much to it. And the whole thing is a cosmetic flip. So all you have to do is your basic rehab, your kitchen, your bathroom, your flooring. And it's going to be super straightforward, super easy for a quick flip with a around 1.3 million ARV. So there's enough room here to make a good chunk of money, especially if you go into it with a good plan. Our price for this one is anywhere in the 900s. We might be able to make it work. We're working a reduction on it right now, but anywhere in the upper 900, 950s, we feel we can get this across. So our main thing here is just getting a number and getting your scope of work, your rehab, and seeing what you guys see for ARV.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I believe you. Thanks for sharing that, Martin. One of the things that we will do as part of the live conversation of this off-market deal is to present loan options that any investor might need or might need to know about in order to get a deal done. I don't know if you mentioned it, Martin, but how much of rehab or construction were you recommending for this particular deal?
For this one, you shouldn't go past 150K. If you do, then you're doing something way too much for the area that you need. You don't need any of the luxury fixtures, especially all the comms are showing just 1.3 mil. So we're estimating between 45 and 55 on the high end per square foot. I've spoken to a few investors about this one already, and no one's gone above the 150K rehab. So
perfect. Now, along with that as well is, us as a team, us in terms of the LEARNin Local California network, we will work to promote these live presentations of these deals, and the way that the subject matter expertise of the network, the people who are involved in this network, they'll have a chance to provide the information. Like, for instance, depending on what you do to the property, Patrick will be providing insurance options that might work. Again, obviously, Ellen is, kind of like at the top of the funnel. So if you're looking to get organize your finances and get approved for buying this property financially, certainly you're going to have to deal with someone like that. And obviously, Martin, who's going to be preparing the opportunity. Dave is not officially part of the network, but again, if you want representation in terms of looking to any questions and law specific need information that any investor, where Dave is here because he works all throughout California, happens to live in San Francisco area, but he can help investors all over the country. All over the state of California. So last but not least, we're almost through with our show. I can't believe it's it's almost 30 minutes. It goes by really quick. We don't have any upcoming events other than the fact that we will be promoting this Oceanside property on Thursday, 8 a.m. PST. We'll create a snippet of that so everyone has the ability to participate, hopefully. But lastly, I just want to end this show with any last minute predictions for end of 2025. Dave, thank you so much for being on the show again. I'm going to give you the first dibs. 30 seconds prediction, or however you want to post it. But thank you again for being here.
Yeah, well, I think it depends on what state you're in, but the market is going to reflect what's going on in the greater macroeconomic forces that are out there for us, and I think we're looking at eventually interest rates coming down, and I think that we're looking at maybe some slower growth. I mean, in California in particular, especially in my area, we're definitely looking at slower equity gain over the next couple of years. And this could change. It could get very, very slow depending on what happens with the employment market. Right, everything really sort of hinges on how stable employment is, and we've got a lot of factors that nobody can really account for because of AI. If AI starts to ectomy everybody's means of making a living, then we could be in a much different market. But I think given where we are right now, I'm expecting a little bit slower growth, but more inventory continuing to come on as interest rates do come down or more programs come available. I think that there are still many buyers that are looking, to enter the market, and I think people just need to be reasonable in their expectations for what price they can get and for what it's going to take to make a purchase. There's probably going to be a lot more room for negotiations. That's my big prediction, and I think that that's one of the changes that is probably needed.
Got it. All right. Well, Martin, Ellen, Patrick, I'll just allow you, and then we'll close out the show. Anyone, you guys want to jump in for the quick?
I would just say, going to the market, just be realistic and don't be afraid to, if you're an agent, to let your sellers know that based on the comps, based on what the buyers are telling you, relay all that feedback, and don't be afraid to adjust your pricing or do little things such as if your staging's off, just looking at the whole bigger picture and making sure you're making the changes to maximize how much value you can pull out of your home.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
For me, despite the affordability remaining a challenge, because even though we see an uptick in the inventory, interest rate is still a little bit high. So the affordability is still a challenge to a lot of people. The projections from the California Association of Realtors suggest a rebound in 2025. So it's happening right now. So my advice to potential buyers and investors is to just be prepared. And it's becoming a more balanced market with opportunities for well-prepared buyers. So that's my advice. Be prepared, get connected with your experts, your professional tax planner, a realtor, all these people in your network to help you prepare and make smart decision-making in your investment.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to say thank you. We're going to close it off, but make sure you tune in next week at 1 p.m. For LEARNin Local Live California. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Life doesn't always go as planned, but that's okay. What matters is knowing someone's there when you need them most. From the place you call home, to the car that keeps you moving, to the business you've worked hard to build, it's all worth protecting. With guidance you can trust and care that feels personal, you're never facing it alone. Farmers Insurance. Talk to your agent today.